Happened in the 90's.
Get out of the way! Come on!
Don't get that, Frank.
It could be the office.
Yeah, let it rain.
Hello? Baxter! It's Baxter!
Meow, 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 meow.
Meow Mix brand cat food has a variety of 4 delicious flavors cats love. In fact, it's the only cat food that tastes so good, cats ask for it by name.
Meow, meow, meow.
Again and again.
You could just shrink dry those shirts, man.
No,
And then
there's
like,
no way, Steve. I'm telling you, there's so much fabric, and I think it's like unshrinkable because a fat man, if it shrinks, he's out of luck. So a 5X or whatever that was, you know. Here's the other thing that my mom found in that closet with that shirt. So that big ass shirt, which, dude, I must have watched like a Bill Hicks thing, but I apparently wanted a leather jacket at one point. So
Yeah.
she brings out, she's like, you should look for your leather jacket. I was like, leather jacket? What the fuck is she talking about? Thinking maybe it was my dad's. And I open up the closet and pull this thing out. It was something I asked for. And dude, it's a leather jacket so big. I mean, it has to be 2.5 to 3 cows worth of leather, dude. It's so fucking big.
not 3 cows.
3 cows, Steve. I mean, I'm sure you like the way they cut it off. I can't really speak on that, but this leather jacket, it could have fit 8 Bill Hicks. Let's put it like that. Like, he could have done a show under the fucking jacket.
Dude.
I mean, just value in leather alone, I'm sure you're right. I should just try to resell and be like, to leather makers, there's so much leather here that you could use to make other things. I mean, give me an offer and maybe I'll just make a bunch of money off that.
Look at the leather, Holmes.
Yeah. Oh my
Man.
God. I don't know why a Mexican guy would be doing it, but
I mixed that in with the Chappelle skit when he was like, look at the leopard. But dude, it's Matthew Fonzarelli, everybody. Hey
guys, I could smuggle anything in that coat, Steve. If you needed, like, if we could have stole like 5 stereos and put it under that shit, dude.
Sunday,
Like a
Monday,
fat fucking
Perrysburg.
Undertaker walking around.
Tuesday, Wednesday, Perrysburg. Thursday, Friday.
I could have been like Batman, dude. It was Fat Man. Isn't that like a Kevin Smith thing? I was the real Fat Man. I could have just fucking and basically absorb people into the code. That was my power.
It's the Midwest Andrew Dice Clay.
I can't do an Andrew Dice.
Oh, why did you do that?
Hold on.
You pump fake me.
Let me think about it for a second. Little Miss Muffet sat on a dolphin. Hey! This fucking pig over here, I put it up a fucking ass.
Hickory dickory dock. She couldn't get off my cock.
Okay, well, I guess I can do a little bit of an Andrew Dice Clay, a little bit of one.
Dude, so you still have the coat?
Oh yeah, man. I mean, if it's in my mom someplace, I'm assuming she didn't like offload it into some leather making person or, you know, 1,000-pound individual that needed a leather jacket. I don't know.
Did the Dice Man have fringes on the arms too?
I did not. I didn't have the fringe,
but he did though, did he? I think.
Yeah, he had fringe. He definitely, because when he would be like, "Hey," he'd be like fucking combing his fucking hair back and shit. The fringe are just sort of. That man is a treasure of society.
I was just gonna say, people shit on the Dice Man, but he's one of the fucking goats, bro. I don't care. I don't fucking care, dude. He's fucking
Ford
legend.
Fairlane is, I mean, for president, really. That's the next step. If Trump could be president, why not him?
I wouldn't go that
Fucking-
far.
Come on,
It-
Steve. Just let it all burn. Let's let
Yeah.
just like having dice on there. Come on.
I'll take his stand up, but the movies and shit. But you know what? He was in that Lady Gaga movie though, wasn't he? Wasn't he her dad?
I know he was in some fucking Woody Allen
series.
movie. Is that a Woody Allen movie that you're talking about?
Fuck no, I don't fuck with Woody Allen.
He was in, like, I remember him being in a Woody Allen movie and everybody saying how good he was. I mean, dude, say what you want, but I mean, Ford Fairlane, it was like a comic book style type movie. It was just like a crazy movie, but the guy's acting all the time. So if you don't like his acting, I mean, he's an actor. He's acting constantly. He just got caught up in it, or I don't even want to speak on it because I love him. I don't know if that's him or if he's just acting all the time, but
Well, I'm gonna
cheers
be
to
real with you.
Dice.
I've never seen Ford Fairlane. I might enjoy it. I don't know. I know it was like generally panned by critics and stuff. And A
It's not
Star is
great.
Born. I think he played the dad in A Star is Born with Bradley Cooper and Lady Gaga.
Oh, I
If I'm
mean,
not
I
mis-
never watched that shit. I couldn't. I just kept hearing the song all the time. And wasn't Dave Chappelle in that movie too?
He was, yeah.
Maybe I need to
It, it,
watch it. I don't know.
it was an all right movie. I don't understand why it was so like it was, I mean it wasn't bad, but it wasn't I don't know, maybe it was a slow year for movies.
I
But
feel
I
like
did like
anytime an actor like Bradley Cooper puts himself out to actually sing a song and shit, they get more credit for the movie because of that. I mean, for credit to him because he did like it seemed like a good like if you like that,
yeah.
you know, if that was him singing, then salute. That guy's a badass because not only can he act, but he can do that shit too. I mean, that's fucking crazy.
I fucks with the Coopers and Dice Man. I like the SNL that he hosted. Did you ever see that?
I don't think I ever saw that shit.
Man, so that was a big deal because the one of the ladies that was on the show, she like protested, like, look, if he hosts this show, I quit. Nora Dunn, that's who it was. And you know, because she was a feminist or whatever. And Lauren Michaels, he was dating Nora Dunn, and that became a whole issue. And so, but lo and behold, Andrew Dice.
I need you to not say the hickory dickory dock thing, okay?
Man, I'm gonna send you the link later today for that show, man. I think it's got some gems on it, man. But that was in the 90s. I think it was 1990 or 91.
I just love Dice for like, I mean, I'm sure that was bomb, but whenever you watch a video of him just tearing apart a heckler or so, you know, something of that nature, that's the best. I
Yeah,
think that's kind of what was his thing was like people wanted to go to his show to almost get trashed by him. It's like sort of a Don Rickles type thing going on.
yeah. It's like a
I
badge of
mean, who
honor.
doesn't like a little Miss Muffet sat on a tuffet? And I said, "What's in the bowl, bitch?"
Maybe that's where Mitty Green's got his inspiration from.
Dude, what if that was where shout out to Mitty Greens smoking a Resi bowl right
Yo.
now. Yo, what's up, dude? What's up? You want to go in the bushes and hit these Resi nugs, bitch?
Yo.
Shut.
Want to go behind this dumpster and smoke a couple bowls. So I'm fucking this three-legged Saigon whore, and I'm like, yo, how are you standing? And she's like, I don't know. Shut.
I'm like, moo moo the cow, bitch. Yo,
I
you
love
want
how
to
nobody
go 50-50 on this bowl? I got these Resi balls, yo. You got any weed?
Oh
It's
man.
not a 50-50 fucking thing, guys. If somebody wants to go 50-50 and all they got's a fucking pill bottle full of res, don't go to the bushes, no matter how good of a fucking offer it seems.
But dude, those were the college days, man. You had to sacrifice, man. You know, everybody's broke. So you had to make do. And you know, you might come off with some resi, man. Like if you sold Hey man, if you couldn't find it and it's a good deal, like, hey man, I got this bag of resi, like a 8 bag
Yo, this
of some
res
resi.
is from some straight up fire. I'm telling you, secondhand, you're
Mm-hmm.
gonna get fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
Look how black this
And
shit is. Look how black and tarry this shit is. I'm telling you, this might as well be heroin.
man, those resin hits hit different, man. Have
Well,
you
yeah,
ever
we used to do that. Here's how you maximize resin, guys. This is for the real low lifes out there that just need a little. Here's a low life tip. Just use a bong. Hit some resis out of a bong, and you're going to fly high.
you don't underestimate the power of resin, man. And have you ever made one of those resin blunts or resin joint where like you have the remnants and you try to collect them all to make this Voltron of a blunt? Dude, those are strong, man, because I don't know, whatever chemical that is just sitting in the blunt, it makes it just more potent, and you break it open and you put them all together.
By the power of desperation, dude. That's why, because you just want to get high, and you're like, man, there's just a little something to get me through, and then you have a blunt of it. I've never heard of such a thing.
One more day to payday. I gotta make do. And I needs to get high now. Yup. And
Snoop Dogg would be pissed if he heard this. He
I
ain't never
mean,
hit a
hey,
resi blunt.
man, he don't know the struggle. I mean, he knows the struggle, but it's been so long. He's been rich for a
Do you
while.
think he ever hit a resi blunt at all? There was some desperate times back in the day when he was just a puppy where it was just like,
Back in
yo,
Long Beach,
yo, play it. I need something to get me through.
smoking that resizzle for shizzle.
Shout out to Midi Greens wherever you're at. Hit that resi for us.
He's Midi Whites. Oh, sophomore year he became Midi Whites. I don't know who he is now.
He's gotten the full spectrum. He's back to greens again. He's hitting that resi. I know. I can
Midi.
feel him in the force, Steve. As a
We're all in our
pothead, I
late
can feel
30s.
him.
We're all in our late 30s, so we're all Midi life now.
Yeah. Midi resentment right now.
Let's get to it, man. What's up, boys and girls? This is Matthew G and Steve G with Happened in the 90s, a show where we talk about things that happened in the 90s. So get out your Nickelodeon GAC and your CD Walkman because we're smart guys. Do 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 do. Smart guys. Do 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 do.
He's running for his life in this episode. It's fucking crazy. What the fuck did you make me watch, Steve?
It was a very special episode, Matthew.
Oh my God, was it ever? Jesus Christ. I've never been
I feel
so
like
fucking terrified watching a Disney show in my goddamn life.
Well, I feel like the government commissions or the FCC or whoever, they commission all of these sitcoms. Like, hey, you got to get at least one or two uh, call to action episodes, or just say no deals. They had a lot of just say no episodes back in the 80s of these different shows. Um, oh my God, is he smoking a joint?
Yeah. Dude, do you remember that one they showed us in junior high?
Which one?
The one where Helen Hunt snorts angel dust and then she jumps out of a fucking window and is like scratching herself with broken glass?
I remember that clip because she referenced it when she hosted SNL.
Dude,
But
they showed us that, dude.
in what class?
Whatever class maybe it was like, for some reason, I'm picturing a woman named Miss Wohlever's class, but I don't know. It was in some kind of class in junior high, and they definitely showed that video.
Miss Wohlever was the English teacher, right?
Yeah.
I hated that bitch.
You want to know
Miss
something
Wohlever,
fucked up about Miss Wohlever that my parents told me later in life?
besides being a racist punk bitch.
I'm sure she was that, but that chick told my parents straight up. She's like, your son's never gonna be anything in life. That's what she told my parents.
So did George Leroy pull that belt out?
Apparently there was some words said, but my mom was like, we never told they I literally found this out maybe a couple years ago. Like we were just talking and shooting the shit. And I was like, man, some of those teachers I had, we were just like talking about Perrysburg. And they mentioned her, and I was like, I was a dickhead in her class because it was boring and I don't know, I just was. That's what I did. I was just a class clown. But she literally said that. My mom was like, if you know my mom, no.
Miss Sonia, she don't play about her baby boy.
Sonia will not tolerate that. So I think a lot of words were said. George Leroy did not have to whip that belt out.
Get the strap.
But they were like, we never told you about that. Just know that, we stood up for you, but that's what that woman said about you. So a big middle finger to Miss Wohlever if you're out there.
Tell a hater I said, pussy.
Miss Wohlever, if you're not in hell right now, hopefully this is shared.
Yeah.
And yeah, bitch, there's a lot of Wohlevers, but bitch, you're the one who was a teacher for Perrysburg Junior High School. We're talking about you, bitch.
Ohio.
Yeah, I got you. I got you on camera. You on candid camera now.
And in Perrysburg, Ohio, and I was a great speller. So in the spelling bee, in our class, I was a runner up. I think it was Patrick, some dude named Patrick, that he took it, but I was a runner up. And the fact that I was a runner up, the look on her face and her energy, her actions, it was just like flabbergasted. Like her face was just like, how could this Negro? Oh my God, he knows how to spell words. And like that's something. Like even though we were kids, it resonated with me at that moment.
To spell. Call the cops.
Yeah, man. I was the spelling bee champ in 6th grade at Old Orchard Elementary, man. And I was consistently a good speller. I won a couple spelling bees back in the day, man.
Well, I got to give credit to you because in high school, I looked up to you as an intellectual person that I knew because I always thought you were way smarter than me. That was mostly because when we were in that one math class together, you clearly knew what you were doing and I had no idea. So I was like, well, clearly this guy's a genius. So, salute. You were very smart and you are very smart, Steve. You're not, it hasn't deteriorated.
We're both smart guys. And man, I love that class. I think his name was Mr. Murphy, man.
It was Mr. Murphy.
Yeah. And he was, oh, you didn't like Mr. Murphy?
We had issues, so I was not a good student, Steve. I just didn't, I didn't rock like that. I couldn't pay attention. I had ADHD, Steve. I'm sure undiagnosed, unassisted ADHD, where I was just, I enjoyed talking, not learning, I guess.
Well, he was funny. And I remember he let me cuss one time when I was talking some shit, and nothing happened to me. I think because I got good grades and I wasn't a bad student, man. But I like one of the things I remember. One of the girls asked him a question. It was kind of like a why, and he was like, because you're ugly or your mother dresses you funny.
I sure did say that shit.
Shout out to Mr. Murphy.
Yeah, salute to that. I mean, honestly, he had a reason. I respect he called my mom. I respect it. He was just trying to get me to pay attention. So I wasn't paying attention, so I get it. Miss Wohlever's still a big, oh hell yeah, to you. Fuck you.
Yeah.
But yeah, that shit. What was that dude's name you hung out with that was in that class?
Devin,
that's what I couldn't think of that motherfucker's name. I was like, we used to hang out and talk shit about wrestling to that one other dude. I couldn't remember his fucking name.
he was a huge Buckeyes fan, man, and he had a big house. He always invite people for pay-per-views, and I remember his mom being like pretty hot, and she was cool. But that was my first experience of a guy calling his mom a bitch, and like her being just like, okay, like it was borderline. I would say it was Cartman-like, but Devin had his dad. Like it was such a fun time being there, man, because like I wasn't used to being in houses that big, man. And they were like rooms within rooms, man. It's like the Jeezy song. When he was like, House is stupid, dumb, big. My room got rooms.
Dude, I
They're
mean,
talking
that's
about
cool
Devin's.
though when you got a rich friend. That was nice when you got that upper echelon rich kid where you were like, what? Pool house? Dude, in Pennsylvania, before I moved to Ohio, this could have been in the 90s, I guess.
Yeah.
I had this kid, his name was Brian something, but we were best friends. And then one day I finally, like, I think our dads worked together or something. Like his dad was like in the upper echelon of the company. But one day I got to go over to this kid's house, indoor pool house that was huge, glass enclosed, but a legit enclosed pool, indoor pool, huge diving board, like a community pool, like a real legit diving board, TVs, a bar, video games everywhere. And then the actual house had whatever at the time was the most up-to-date video game, probably like a Sega and maybe a Super Nintendo, all of it. The little gun, bazooka, Super Nintendo gun and shit, all of it. And I remember going there and being like, I never want to leave this house. Like we would just like, it was like playing it was a mansion. So it was just like,
So the place where the pool,
dude, they had, it was literally a house. They had acres of property. You walked across the driveway and there was just this big ass building that like the upper top of it was all glass, like windows and shit. So you walked in, the pool was in the middle. It had a real legit slide, a diving board. Like it looked like a community pool, like you would go to in Perrysburg, like the public pool. Picture that. It had that inside, and an area near the pool, probably about 10 feet away, so water didn't splash on it, where there was like a bar, a TV, a bunch of couches, table to like eat at, like a coffee table, just like everything. And this is like so long ago, I can remember this like it was yesterday because it like blew my mind. Because I had it good, and I by no means was I ever like wanting for anything really, but when I went to that kid's house, I was like, holy shit. Trampoline, fucking trampoline you could trampoline and jump into the pool, Steve.
Yeah.
I mean, that could kill a kid, but that was amazing as a kid just to be like, this is amazing.
What did they do to be able to afford all that?
Honestly, now that I think about it, I think his dad was a foot doctor or some shit. Maybe he was a doctor. I can't remember that kid specifically, but I mean, you ran into that in Perrysburg sometimes. You'd go over to a kid's house that you just knew from school and be like, oh, damn. I think there was a kid named Dent. I forget what that fucking kid's name was, but there's some kid I knew from band in high school. And we went over to his house and he had like a tennis court and a basketball court that was like interchangeable, but it was like a full size shit lit. And he had maybe a batting cage and shit. And I was like, damn.
Wow.
Damn.
But he didn't play a lick of sports.
No, fuck no. Maybe he played tennis.
That always killed me, man, when people had all of these things. Like you have the luxury of practicing these sports at home, but like you don't apply that to the actual sport and join a team. Like you just, I don't know, weird flex, but okay.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, it's out there, but this Mario level's not going to beat itself. So I'm just going to go ahead and just fuck with this real quick.
Yeah. The Ocarina of Time.
That kid I remember with the pool, he couldn't swim that well either. I remember he didn't like using the diving board. I was like, you got to do this. He's like, no, I'm scared of it. It's like, what?
You punk ass kid.
Yeah, come on, man.
He's probably a beta male now.
And he's probably
on March 4th, 1990, March 4th, Draymond Green was born. Fuck that guy. Also on that day, Sports Center, they broadcast Cavs in 7, never forget. ESPN is broadcasting graphic footage of Loyola Marymount University basketball player Hank Gathers collapsing on the conference tournament game. The network was at the game recording advanced footage of the championship game, and it was scheduled to televise the next night. The tournament was ultimately canceled in wake of Gathers' death, and Loyola Marymount was given the league's automatic bid that year's NCAA tournament by virtue of its regular season league championship. Now, I don't remember when this happened. I don't remember it when it happened, but I did see the 30 for 30 special that they had on it.
Educate me, Steve, because I need some education. I remember this very vaguely.
Now, the coach of Loyola Marymount at the time was Paul Westhead, and he was a former Lakers coach. He won the championship, I believe it was Magic Johnson's rookie year. And the following year, things just didn't work out, or might have been 1 or 2 years after that. And then lo and behold, he would get replaced by Pat Riley, and that was history. And now Hank Gathers, he was a stud, and he was going to be drafted. As a junior, he became the second player in NCAA history to lead the nation in scoring and rebounding in the same season. He was a consistent second-team All-American as a senior in 1990, and his career began with the USC Trojans, but he transferred with his buddy Bo Kimball, and him and Bo Kimball, they were high school teammates back in Philadelphia, and they transferred because they didn't get a say in the new coach. When they first joined USC, the team wasn't that good, so the coach was fired, and they were all in agreement, like, hey, if we don't get a say in the new coach, we're gone. And they selected George Raveling, who was kind of a journeyman at this point. And George Raveling came in with the attitude of like, look, man, if you don't like this shit, you can bounce. And that's what Bo Kimball and Hank Gathers did. And they both went to Loyola Marymount, and they made some noise there in the WCC. I believe it's called the Western Conference. Western something conference, whatever. But early in his senior year, he was diagnosed with an abnormal heartbeat, and he collapsed during a game, and he was placed on medication. He returned a few weeks later, but he initially struggled because the medication, they said, was messing up his play. His production wasn't the same, and the dosage was gradually decreased, and his play recovered. And the last score that he made, it was a alley-oop, and shortly after the alley-oop, he just collapsed. And when people came to attend for him, he said that, I don't want to lay down. So he got up, and then he went back down. And then later that day, he died, man. The team that they played was the Portland Pilots. And I didn't know this either, but Eric Spoelstra, the current coach for the Miami Heat, the coach who won the championships with LeBron and all that, he was the point guard for the Portland Pilots. Yeah, fun fact, man. And they attributed the style of play of Paul Westhead because they were kind of a running gun style, and they were running up scores, man. One of the games, they had 180 points.
What the 180 points? Stop the game. Somebody called Jim Ross and fucking have him call for a match stoppage at that point.
They said that they would go for a score within 10 seconds of possession, just about. That was like the average, man. It was just like, you remember Phoenix Suns when they had Steve Nash, they had that kind of run and gun style. This is like the precursor to that, like just run the floor, dunk, man, find the open shot and just go and just keep running. It's nonstop, man. And because of him having this irregular heartbeat, this heart condition, they attributed some of that, or a lot of that, to his death. Now, an autopsy found that he suffered from a heart muscle disorder, hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, and his family later filed a $32.5 million lawsuit charging negligence. Loyola Marymount settled out of court for $1.4 million, while the cardiologist, and the cardiologist who treated Gathers settled for $1 million.
So, I mean, they basically just did that shit because he was so good. They were like, we can't lose him. Just say he's okay to play.
Well, to be fair, it was part that, and also he was not following the doctor's orders, because when he started decreasing his dosage, They said that he was ignoring phone calls, and because he wanted to be a stud, man, he wanted to shine, he wanted his teams to win, and the medication was hindering his play. So he's partially responsible, but and also on top of the settlement, they also have a statue in front of Loyola Marymount of Hank Gathers. Now, his buddy Bo Kimball, he did a tribute to Hank Gathers in the NCAA tournament. Now, Hank Gathers, he was a great scorer, but his Achilles heel was his free throw shooting, kind of like how Shaq was. He was horrible at free throw shooting. So halfway through his college career, he made a conscious effort to switch hands. He was naturally right-handed. So when he started shooting with his left hand, the free throws were starting to go in. So his buddy Bo Kimball, in tribute to Hank Gathers, during the NCAA tournament, he started shooting his free throws with the left hand.
That's cool.
Yeah, man. And now Gathers, he had a son who was 6 by the time he died. So he had that child when he was 17, and his name is Aaron Crump. Now, Crump received a reported $1.5 million from Gathers' wrongful death lawsuits, and he gained control of the money when he turned 18, and it became a problem for Crump, who later described himself as a young black male with no guidance at the time. And he pleaded guilty to aggravated assault with a weapon and was in a state prison from 2007 until 2012. And when he got out, he became a salesperson, and he also mentors children through the Hank Gathers Legacy Group that he founded.
Damn, at least he made it. He made amends. It seems like he's kind of on the up and up now. That's good to hear. Yeah, that's what a crazy fucking story though. Shit. Because I mean, look at that guy. I can see him behind you. It's that guy looks like a beast.
He was, man. And he was, like I said, he was going to go to the league. His buddy Bo Kimball, he got drafted and he played for the Clippers, and he might have moved around for a little bit. So he had a little bit of success. And, him and Hank Gathers, they were both going to get drafted, man, because his numbers were ridiculous, man. When they played against LSU, when they had Shaquille O'Neal, he dropped like 48 points. They lost that game. But yeah, that's sick, man.
40. I mean, if you can do that in an NCAA game, period, you got crazy skill. So I mean, that's one of those things. It's like what might have been. There's a couple of those guys, that they either made it and they die or whatever it is, but it's like, god damn, what a fucking tragedy.
And the same thing that he died of, Reggie Lewis from the Boston Celtics, he died from that years later in, I believe, 93 or 94.
Wasn't
And
that kind of like drug related too, though? Am I conflating that with something else?
You're thinking about Len Bias.
Len Bias is who I'm thinking of. Okay, yeah.
Happened in the 80s.
But sorry about that.
Or should it be happened in the 80s? Totally rad. But I remember the Reggie Lewis thing, because this is when I was knee deep in the NBA, being a fan. And Reggie Lewis was an all-star. He was there at the tail end of Larry Bird's career, and right there at the end of Kevin McHale's career. And I don't believe it was a game. I think he collapsed either in a scrimmage or maybe a preseason game, but I don't believe it was like a televised event.
Yeah. Damn, it's crazy. I don't know. It'd be so wild to just be on the court when that shit happens, though. It's fucking crazy.
For real, man. On March 4th, 1993, Patti LaBelle receives a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame in Hollywood, USA. The people were in attendance, Boys to Men, Whoopi Goldberg, among others. And I watched her ceremony, and one of the things that stood out was this big black hat that she had on that looked like a deflated balloon. But shout out to that sister, man. She is multifaceted, accomplished a lot of things, and her sweet potato pies at Walmart are delish.
Never had. I can only imagine, though.
They're inexpensive.
Honestly, I didn't even know she had it. So my apology. I'm gonna have to go to Walmart and just pick one up.
So when you go to Walmart, do you ever see those 50-cent pies or whatever? I think they're like $1 or 50 cents, and you could probably eat one in one bite. They got
like
apple. Yeah,
okay.
She might have bigger ones, but they're a part of that. There's like apple, cherry pies and stuff, man. And I actually did eat one in one gulp one time.
Hey, I do declare, Steve. I want me a Patti LaBelle apple pie.
Now, on that same day, when Patti LaBelle is getting her ceremony, getting her star on the Walk of Fame, ESPN holds the first ever ESPY Awards, and the highlight is Jim Valvano's speech while accepting the inaugural Arthur Ashe Courage and Humanitarian Award. He announced the creation of the V Foundation for Cancer Research, an organization dedicated to finding a cure for cancer. And less than 2 months after his famous ESPY speech, Valvano died following a nearly year-long battle of metastatic cancer.
Yeah, I mean, this shit was. I remember watching. I mean, they
Yeah.
played this a lot, so
And
I've
still to
seen
this day,
this.
man.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, rest in peace to Jim Valvanos, of course, but his organization's done a lot. I actually had cancer, so I definitely it wasn't the
Yeah.
same thing, but anybody that's gone through it, I definitely sympathize with, and his organization's done a lot for the research to get rid of it, and something that it's super important to hear, and he put it in so eloquently. I mean, I'm sure
Mhm.
everybody in the fucking room is crying. I think there's footage of people just like wiping tears away, and it's one of those
Yeah.
speeches. And as somebody that can answer, man, like it definitely hits home. And so shout out to Jim Valvanos. It's something that I
High
think about
salute,
it all the
man.
time, man. It's crazy. So I can't watch it. I didn't want to watch it because it will make me cry, but
It fucked me up, man. I'm not gonna lie. And a lot of people remember Jim Valvano when he like they won the 1983 NCAA championship. It was one of the biggest upsets in sports history. And he's mostly known for the guy that's like just pacing and running through the court after they won, just ready and willing to hug anybody because he couldn't believe, like, man, we made it happen, man. And the team that they beat was the Houston Cougars, Phi Slamma Jamma with the I think Clyde Drexler might have still been on the team.
oh damn.
Uh, yeah, I believe so. It was in Akeem Olajuwon, who at the time was Akeem before he added the H and enjoying the Islam.
Damn. Well, this is probably a huge moment. This was on ESPN, right? You said it was part of the ESPYS.
Yeah, it was the very first ESPYS.
Yeah, that's
Some of the
crazy.
big winners that night were Monica Seles and Michael Jordan, and he was the inaugural Arthur Ashe Courage and Humanitarian Award recipient, man. And one of the key things that people latched onto was when he said, "You have to have an enthusiasm for life, you have to have a dream, and you have to go out and work for it." And
Hell yeah.
that's you know how can you dispute that?
That's hilarious. That's amazing, dude. And also just because like everyone go like donate to that organization if you can. And also I just have to give
Mhm.
a shout out to Leukemia Lymphoma Society because legit they did directly help me beat leukemia. So if you want to like give uh you want to be on the donor list for somebody to possibly like save somebody's life with your stem cells, it's very easy. It's not scary. It's just giving your blood. Go to bethematch.org. I try to tell anybody you can just join. It's very easy. And you might legit save somebody's life someday because that's exactly what happened to me. So
BeTheMatch.org.
bethematch.org. I'll put it in post somewhere
All right.
like right here. And for sure, please, like it's a any organization. And obviously what's his called, the Arthur Ashe Foundation. I don't know if you can
Oh
directly
no,
you know
his was the V Foundation for
the
Cancer Research,
the V
but the
Foundation, yeah,
yeah.
for cancer research. Definitely donate to that too, because anything trying to get rid of that shit is worth it. That's a great cause.
Now you know who didn't watch Jim Valvano's speech on the ESPYS?
Who, Steve? I'm scared.
Bobby Bobby Christina Brown, because she was busy coming out of Whitney Houston's womb. She was yeah. That's Bobby Brown and Whitney Houston's only child, and I don't believe she was watching ESPN. She doesn't strike me as a sports fan.
Maybe she like
un-
Monica Seles. She, maybe she just she loved tennis right out of the womb, Steve. You don't
I and if I was her, I would have liked what I just came out of. And she
know.
and unfortunately, she's no longer with us. She died in 2015, and there's actually a what do you call them? Uh, I was going to say a tell-all, but that's a book. They did a biopic on her. It was a TV movie, and it's unfortunate what happened to her, man. And you know, I'm a Bobby Brown fan. I'm a Whitney Houston fan, and she just, you know, she died the same fashion her mother did, in a tub, just found by herself, man. And they said it was foul play from her boyfriend, and the way he was portrayed in the movie, man, he just seemed so sinister, man. And Bobby Brown went to beat his ass, and that guy is now dead.
I mean, what the? Some people are just like, it's like some families just get cursed. And I mean, shout out to, I love New Edition. Everyone loves Whitney fucking Houston, but it's like something. There's like some curse. I didn't know like the kid died. I honestly didn't. I wasn't aware of that. So that it's
Bobby
like,
Christina,
what the
yeah.
fuck?
Well, I mean, she wasn't really known. I don't. I think she might have done some music, but she was mostly known for being Bobby Brown and Whitney Houston's daughter. And they had a reality show. This was kind of like the beginning of the reality show era. This is before the Kardashians, and it was oh man, some things you don't have on television, man, because you're seeing some things, some behavior from Whitney Houston that was less than glamorous. And this is Bobby Christina when she was a little chunky, and she ended up growing up to be a beautiful woman, man. It's just unfortunate she's no longer with us. And her boyfriend, who he started off as a family friend, and he was kind of looked at as a brother, like, oh, he's my brother. And you know, he would be around the family, and Whitney Houston would look after him and stuff. And then eventually they started getting together and became a boyfriend girlfriend deal, man. But fuck that guy, man.
Yeah, I
if,
was about
if
to say,
everything that
fuck
they,
him.
because they said that he was trying to get in on the money when Whitney Houston passed, you know, that's Bobby Christina. She's the heiress to that. And you know, he was trying to get his cut and just be just too meddlesome, man.
Damn, well, that's so much talent in that like bubble, but fucking Coke is a motherfucker.
Man, indeed. And in March 4th, 1994, John Candy dies. This is the second
God
time
damn,
we talk
Steve.
about.
It's a
Yeah.
downer, Steve.
Yeah, this is hmm.
The polka king of the Midwest. He's dead now. When was the date?
Yeah. March 4th, 1994. He died in Durango City, Durango, Mexico.
What did he die of?
It's they didn't do an autopsy.
Hmm.
They hold on. They said that there was no autopsy performed. He was 43 years old. So, I mean, it's kind of like pretty obvious when you're obese. And they said he suffered from attacks of binge eating in response to professional struggles, and he weighed in excess of 300 pounds at some points in his life. He had a number of risk factors for heart attack, including a strong family history. Both his father and his brother had died prematurely of heart attacks. And although his children say he was unaware of his genetic risk, he smoked a pack a day of cigarettes and heavy alcohol use and occasional use of cocaine. And Candy was concerned about his weight, and he frequently dieted and he exercised with trainers in light of his family history. The actor was also under a significant degree of stress throughout the making of Wagons East. In 2019, the documentary style television series Autopsy: The Last Hours of covered a storyline on Candy's death.
I mean, damn. I get he's obese. All this other shit. It's crazy to hear that. I mean, I guess you're under a lot of stress as an actor, but I guess if you're a big dude like that and you have heart condition, that all leads to you dropping dead, I guess. I mean, it happened to a bunch of people. Belushi kind of went on. I mean, that was all drugs, but they said John Candy was on drugs. So,
He was, and they were both
yeah.
kind of portly fellas, man. I remember when John Candy died. That was big news. And
Yeah, hell yeah, it
uh,
was.
on Entertainment Tonight, that was like all they talked about for that episode, man. Because I mean, he is. I'm not even going to put him in a time capsule, man. He's a legend.
Yeah, he's out.
Um,
He's up there with the best. Like
from
he's the goat.
SCTV to Uncle Buck, uh, Planes, Trains, Automobiles. What do you? He was in Brewster's Millions, Camp Candy,
Home Alone.
Spaceballs, Home Alone.
I mean, we could keep going. He is a legend, dude. I mean, that motherfucker was in some of the funniest shit. It was always because he was kind of like of our time, but he came up before us a little bit. So I think like people a little older than us have him in a bigger place. Like I feel like a contemporary kind of his was Chris Farley, and that was my guy. But he was very much the same thing, and he was even more, I think, of a creative force than Chris Farley was.
It's funny that you mention these other people, man, John Belushi and Chris Farley, because get this shit. Candy was in talks to portray Ignatius J. Riley in a now shelved adaptation of John Kennedy Toole's winning novel, Confederacy of Dunces. He had also expressed interest in playing Attic in a film adaptation of Mordecai Richler's The Incomparable Attic, and Roscoe Fatty Arbuckle in a biopic based on the silent film comedian's life. Now, these 3 shelved projects have been alleged as cursed because John Candy, John Belushi, Sam Kinison, and Chris Farley were each attached to all 3 roles, and they all died before they could make any of these films.
Damn. Well,
yeah.
Don't audition for those movies, guys. If you get a role, somebody calls you to get in on that, refuse. You're gonna die.
Well, get this shit though. Candy was originally considered to play Alec Guinness's role in the remake of the 1950 film Last Holiday with Carl Reiner directing. Now, eventually they did make a remake of Last Holiday, but you know who played that role?
Who?
Queen Latifah.
No. Well, she's alive. And she's good to go.
She's totally alive and she's winning. And
she's a queen, Steve. Like, you can't. That's like protects you in some way.
UNITY, that's a unity. And that movie was released in 2006. And John Candy was also slated to collaborate with John Hughes in a comedy opposite Sylvester Stallone titled Bartholomew versus Neff. Candy and Stallone were to have portrayed feuding neighbors. He was also supposed to be in Pocahontas in the role of Red Feather, the turkey. And it was written for him, but it was subsequently cut from the film after his death.
Well, I mean, I respect to him. I love John Candy. I love Uncle Buck. It's one of my favorite movies from being a kid. I've seen that shit a bunch of times. I love Cam Candy too. That was a great Saturday morning cartoon.
I think it was NBC. Which one were you? Which gang were you a part of? Were you a CBS? Were you a Fox? Were you a NBC?
I think I kind of like went around. I think I was mostly Fox though. There was like Big Bad Beetleborg. Was Beetleborgs on Fox?
That was later though, yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I don't know. Like, I remember Camp Candy, and I remember something that was before Camp Candy. I can't remember what that was. Whatever Bobby's World was on.
That was Fox. But Bobby's World, yeah, Bobby's World was during the week though, I thought.
I think it was a Saturday morning to start though.
Really?
There's a lot of shit where it's like I can't remember what it was because it eventually got syndicated. Like Doug was a Saturday morning cartoon, wasn't it?
That was a Nickelodeon. I don't remember how because that Doug came along with Ren and Stimpy and Rugrats. It was a part of that package.
Yeah,
but
well, I don't know, Steve. That's a good question. I'll have to go back and remember exactly what I watched and when. Like, I remember, was Eek the Cat on Fox?
Eek the Cat. So. I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, man, I think I veered. It depended. I maybe it was different day, like different tastes, different times. I don't know.
I switched up, man. I think the only thing I checked for Fox on Saturday morning was X-Men.
Oh, for sure. I was watching that on Saturday morning. And I think Spider-Man was also like right in that pipeline too. So I watched that for sure. It was.
Too. I fucked with Spider-Man, and also, well. No, that wasn't it, man. But for CBS, I would fuck with Muppet Babies and Pee-wee's Playhouse.
Yeah. But okay, I did that too. I watched both of those. More Pee-wee's Playhouse, but I did like Muppet Babies a lot. That's the best Muppet in my opinion. Also, just to go out on a limb, that's the best version of Muppets. Period.
Really?
I mean, it's got it all. It's got it all. The characters. They do different storylines. It's shorter. You get more of the fan favorites all the time. I just like Muppet Babies a lot. I like Muppet Christmas Carol, Muppet Babies, and there's another Muppet movie that I can't remember what it is that was okay. But those are my go-to Muppets.
I liked how they mix pop culture into the cartoons.
Yeah. Like they had a Star Wars episode, I remember, Muppet Babies and shit. So there was a lot of cool shit that they put into that I don't know. I loved it.
I remember Bill Cosby being in an episode, and that was kind of cool. I watched Cosby show. Hey, it's current. I mean, I'm not even about to do a Bill Cosby. Fuck it. Oh, we got Miss Piggy, we got Piggy, we got Rudy, Theo. Gonna get some Jello. Oh, yeah, that's horrible. That's so fucking bad. Don't ever try that again, Steve. That's golf claps, Matt. Golf claps. Now, in 1995, March 4th, George Foreman loses his WBA boxing title by refusing to fight Tony Tucker. Man, I met George Foreman in Houston. Like, yeah, man, it was about a month after I moved to Houston in 2007, and Simon Cowell had this show called Americans Top Inventors, or Americans Best Inventors, and it was done in the same style of American Idol, but it was about people who had these homemade inventions, and it was a panel of judges who would like say, okay, this makes it to the next round. And George Foreman was one of the judges because of, the George Foreman grill and things. So it was him, the former owner of the 76ers, Pat Croce, and the lady who created Spanx. She was the inventor of Spanx. So a lot of you big women have her to thank. I can't remember her name. And I remember I was one of the production assistants, and I remember waiting in the hallway, waiting for us to shoot. And here comes George Foreman. And at this point, he's like in his late 50s, might have been 60s, man. And he was fucking huge, even as a senior citizen, man. And he's getting close to me. And I was like, man, act normal, but you got to say something to him. It's George fucking Foreman. So he's coming towards me, and I was like, hey, what's up, champ? And I held up my hand, and he, hey, brother, how you doing? And man, his hand, oh my God.
Really?
Bro. His hand, it's just, I couldn't imagine taking hits to that in his prime. So, I mean, George Foreman is not a punk. So, and that's what they try to make it seem like when he just refused to fight Tony Tucker. Now, mind you, George Foreman just won the championship, and he was the oldest person to do it when he beat Michael Moore. He knocked him out, and he
knocked
had
that motherfucker out, dude. Like, he still
dude.
did. I don't know if, like, what I remember that, and that was a huge deal.
Mm-hmm.
And he did that as an old dude coming back out of nowhere. I mean, that's impossible. So that motherfucker must hit like a Mack truck. He did. Watch the movie Ali, or just watch his fights. Watch how that guy punched a fucking bag and would just literally crunch that thing into nothing like a fucking machine. It's crazy. That's like a different kind of boxing, because I feel like that guy, the way he boxed, it was just like this pure power type shit where that shit is crazy. That's insane. You got to meet him, man. I've only met one boxer, and it was super depressing. So,
which one?
Man, when we were out here, I met James Toney. You remember him?
Oh,
Lights Out.
Hell yeah, he was in Ali. He played who was Ali's Frazier? He played
Oh, did he? I don't remember that part of it, but I met him, and nice guy. He wasn't like, he's James Toney. He's a boxer, but man, the sport really took its toll on him, man. And the people we met him through, like, we were doing videos for a gym, and the guy who owned the gym, it was like part boxing gym, so he knew this boxing coach that coached James Toney, and this was probably like 6 years ago, because he was still fighting, dude. He was trying to get. This was why I was really heartbroken when I met him. He slurred. You couldn't really understand what he was saying. It was all like, yo, because we would be like, yo, what's up, champ? He'd be like, what's up, man? It's like that kind of shit. He just like really like couldn't talk well. When he worked out, it was insane, because he worked out just fine. Like, even as a big dude, he was doing shit. I was like, that's fucking crazy. But they were trying to keep him fighting, dude, because he was trying to, like, I think, get to a total number of fights to get him into some sort of like legendary status of some kind. But dude, he just had this team that was getting him in these fights that he didn't need to be in. Because we went out to dinner with him one time, and it was funny because he was like trying to get girls, And like girls loved him, dude. He was like trying, like he would get girls up to the table, and because he had all these fucking like nice ass rings on and shit, and, like jewelry. But man, it was kind of crazy to meet him. But his
Hold on one
hands,
second.
his hand, oh,
Yeah, yeah, I'm doing my show. All right.
his hands were like two. My hands, like put one of his was this. It was both of my hands put together. It was crazy. Was
Man,
George Foreman like? I mean, he you met him like was he like slow at all? Did you notice that? Like I actually was like sitting at a table with this dude, so I actually heard him talk a bunch. But
well, it seemed like his mobility, and I don't know if this is attributed to age or what, man, but like the way he was moving around, because like I was on his left hand side as he's coming down the hall, and I hold out my right hand, which is like, as a man, that's the rule, you shake with your right hand.
yeah,
So I hold out my right, and because I was on his left side, he couldn't like do that, and I could tell like his swivel or whatever. So he slapped he slapped my hand with his left hand.
oh
You know what I
okay,
mean?
got you.
And
Hey
that and
man,
that hand looked like a fucking boulder coming down on mine.
dude, you got a
Um,
dap from the champ, dude. You got a little power put into your DNA from that hit, Steve.
I do recall also, man, fuck you, Pat Croce, because that was like my first time working on a like television production thing, and I was nervous. And as I'm walking down the alleyway, I tripped over one of the light bulbs, and this guy said, "Where did they get this kid from?" And then like I heard George Foreman chuckling, and like I don't put that on George Foreman. He's just kind of like he was a part of the crew, and like people were, and like I was 23 at the time, and in my like it broke me down, man, because I didn't know anybody. I was homesick, and fuck you, Pat Croce, man.
I
Uh,
hated working on movie sets, Steve. I went to film school, and when I first worked on a movie set, I was like, "Oh, this is it, huh?"
yeah,
I saw a kid do what you just described. My first movie set was like a commercial in Beverly Hills, or not Beverly Hills, it was somewhere actually in Long Beach,
yeah.
and that was for like a hospital. But the dad from Clarissa Explains It All was one of the actors in it, so that was
Mm,
cool. Happened in the
nice.
'90s, little connection. And but dude, this kid, I was only a walkie guy. I was just handing out walkie talkies and assigning
Mm,
them to people. But I watched this kid. They had a like a steady cam, which is just like a camera rig, and they had to
mm,
like put it on a stand just to hold it while so the guy didn't have to have all this weight on him while they were waiting around. And it's just sort of like this thing that's on, like it stabilizes it, but the camera was on it, and there was a stand under the camera to stabilize it so nothing like would move around a lot. And I'm talking like this was like a legit film, not film, but like a digital camera for film. And this was probably like 2010 or 11. So very expensive equipment, expensive lens, all that shit. And they put a kid in charge of it. And as soon as somebody walked away, the kid bumped it because he was on his phone, knocked this shit down, cost them like half a day's work. The kid got fired on set and was like crying, but I was
yeah.
like, oh shit. Like, this is no fucking joke at all.
They're serious, man. They expect you to be veterans, man, and knowing what you're doing and stuff. And it's like some of these people, this is their first time. They're trying to get their chops wet. And hey, don't give them a hard time, man. I get it. You're 30 plus or 40 plus, and you've worked with Tom Cruise and Will Smith, blah blah blah. Some of us haven't, man. Fuck off.
Yeah,
Like, was the
that's why I
guy?
didn't enjoy working on. I like editing. Like the people that do that shit are awesome, and like, but when I worked on a film set and I was like a PA or whatever, I just didn't
Yeah,
enjoy it. There's some people that can do that shit, but I don't know. I it was never for me, and that shit, that same energy, it's like that on all sets, and I get it. You want to go home. Everyone wants to go home, and maybe if somebody fucks up, that or you have to answer a bunch of questions. That's not cool, but I don't know. I saw a lot of that kind of behavior out here. It does. It's heartbreaking when you're in the middle of it, like when you're
it
part of that
is,
shit.
man. You're crushing kids' dreams. I mean, I'm guessing he was a young guy, right? He was in his 20s.
Oh yeah,
probably?
dude, he was my age. Like I can't. He wasn't like with us. Like we got on it because I was doing like an internship with this company out here when I first came out here. My school got us an internship in Venice, California, like right near the beach. With I think it was called like it probably doesn't even exist now, but it was called the Institute. And the way it was sold to me was that Michael Bay was somehow involved in the company. But what the reality was that Michael Bay invested money in this. It was basically a production company that did commercials. So
Hmm.
they Michael Bay funded them. They shot commercials, and they had all these like directors and cinematographers that they just had connections with. That anytime Michael Bay, like if you saw a commercial for Victoria's Secret in mid 2000s, oddly enough, Michael Bay directed a lot of those. So he created a
Wow.
company basically to just do production for when that happened. So I they never got one of those when I was working there. I'd had to ride a bus 2 hours one way to get there from where I lived in Hollywood just to work there because I didn't have a car. And then it just so happened like really all I did was clean up and sort of organize shit for 3 months, and then the internship ended. So um
Were, were there explosions in these Victoria's Secret Michael Bay
no, dude, it
directed?
was crazy. It was just like slow mo, real fucking. It's always like it was the
It's,
ones where they were just like a slow mo. Maybe fire was like behind the chick or water, but
I
um,
think Eric.
it seemed like he was just trying to get like numbers from hot. Because that was where he heavily did casting, was when he was casting like the models and shit. So I was like, oh, I get it. Like,
This summer,
yeah.
Michael Bay presents to you
That's what's
Bras.
really sucks about movies, though. It's like the guys who are in, they're getting all the work. Like if you haven't done shit and you're trying to get like be a director or be a writer or an editor in Hollywood, good luck. Because the people
Yeah.
that get those jobs never give them up. And if you want to create something to like get paid like Michael Bay, it's like they're getting paid to direct a movie, to direct all the commercials you see for the most part. So it was a
Mm.
weird experience. I mean, it was really educational. I learned a lot,
Yeah.
but
There's a new pet.
Chia.
Chia Pet, the pottery that grows. It's fun and easy. Soak your chia, spread the seeds, keep it watered, and watch it grow. And now grow a whole collection of fun with chia teddy bears, puppies, kittens, rams, bulls. There's even a chia tree to keep your pets company. Chia Pets and Trees, the pottery that grows.
The Chia Pet and Chia Tree are available at Kmart, Rite Aid, Ames, and Woolworth. Makes a great gift.
Now, on March 4th, 1997, Just Shoot Me premieres on NBC, and this is our first pilot episode that we're covering. Maya Gallo reluctantly goes to work for Jack Gallo, her father, at his magazine. And when she arrives for work, her new co-workers are resistant to her arrival. Her office mates include Nina Van Horn, Dennis Finch, and Elliot DeMoro.
Steve, I gotta say that this is a heavy machismo episode of Hollywood that we're seeing in this episode. There's a lot of just men being men weirdly in this fashion magazine. But I gotta say, this was not, I didn't like this show. I watched it because it was syndicated. Uh, had I been the head of NBC at the time that this was made, I wouldn't have continued with this show. I'm sorry. That might be a harsh reaction, but weird,
Yeah.
weird vibe for a show.
That's some cold shit.
I didn't watch the show. I just remember David Spade being in it, and I thought that he was the focal point of the show, just because he was the only guy that I knew of from the show. But I guess he was a side piece, apparently.
I mean, if you like David Spade's bye character from SNL,
That's basically,
you will
yeah.
love 15 minutes of this show, or maybe even less than that. But that's about all this show has to offer, dude.
I mean, it's got some hot
I
women.
honestly did remember that too. I was like, I thought David Spade was the main kid. Like you said, I thought it was his show, but it isn't. And that's unfortunate.
Now, Maya, we're noticing, played by Laura San Giacomo, and she's not she's not getting any respect at her news station that she works at. The news anchor gives her shit about her work, so Maya decides to show her what the fuck is up. And she has the news anchor read, what did she say? I think it was something about having the frontal lobe of her brain removed.
Yeah. It's a very like Anchorman thing where this woman just reads whatever comes on the teleprompter, no matter what. So I think it was something about having her frontal lobe removed, and then she wets herself. I think wasn't there something about wetting herself?
I believe so. I mean, she was pretty hot though. I'm not gonna lie.
She was. I mean, whatever. It was.
I'm
I was
sorry.
just I get what she was doing. She was being like a rebel. She's like, these people aren't doing real fucking news, so fuck you, lady. But I don't know. To me, if I'm, can you do this to any news anchor? Can you literally write anything and it's just like they robotically read it? Because I feel like once I read a little bit of it, I'd stop and be like,
Well, if you're a writer, you can write whatever you want. Now, mind you, if you do some shit like that, that'll be the last coverage that you'll cover.
Yeah, I mean, God damn, I know people like that though that just are like, fuck this, I don't like this job and can quit. I couldn't do this. I'd be so scared if I did that. But again, like, she didn't fuck him, I guess. But then it's
Now,
like she needed the money, clearly.
she needed the money, and she lost her job for obvious reasons. But the next option is possibly working for her father, which she doesn't want to do because she says her father was never there for her growing up, and she married her dad married her high school homecoming queen. Like, if my dad married the homecoming queen of our school, Matt, I don't even know who the bitch was, but because it's Perrysburg, Ohio, I'd feel some kind of way too.
I mean, salute to the dad for just having the utter gall to just poach his daughter's classmates for fucking future wives. I mean, I couldn't do it. It's a little bit fucked up, but this guy's clearly one of these rich, billionaire types who he owns a magazine. So I'm assuming that there's a lot of money there. And he just said, fuck it. I got a divorce. What's on the other side of that fence? That on the, slightly younger side of that fence. And he found this woman, which we never see, I don't believe.
No, not in this episode. But I don't know if do you ever see her? But you said you didn't watch it.
I don't remember a character, but I mean, I'm assuming at some point they got to show this woman, but whatever. I mean, he's out there coxing it up. He owns a magazine. My thing is like, you have a fashion magazine and it's probably not the most ethical thing to maybe date somebody who's trying to get it, like be a model in your magazine, but I'm sure it happens. So you could have done that. But
these kind of guys in these positions,
like, I want to fuck my daughter's classmate. That's a little weird. It almost seems like he was doing that as like a flex to his daughter, just to be like, fuck you.
I don't think so, man, because obviously, like, he's showing that he's concerned. There's a sense of remorse when Maya does show up in the office, and you could tell when he's making small talk with her, he's like, he feels bad that he wasn't there for her when she was a girl, man. And I feel like this is common. This is true to life, because guys in this situation, they usually try to get a younger girl half his age, man, because they're a man of means, and they probably didn't get laid when they didn't have the money. So it's like, well, fuck it. Like, you only get one life. Let me date somebody that's 22, 23. Look at Hugh Hefner, RIP. Like, all of the women he dated were half his age, like young enough to be his granddaughter.
I mean,
I'm not knocking it.
I am not saying that I don't respect and want that for myself and for any man that's a good person. But I just got to say that in this the daughter's coming in hot. He is at least admitting that, he's fessing up and like, saying, I know this is a weird situation and whatnot, but I don't know, Steve. this man's making choices I wouldn't make. Let's just put it like that.
Yeah. We're introduced to David Spade's character, Dennis Finch, and it's kind of like how we mentioned it's basically he's giving us a taste of his character from SNL. That guy. Yep.
Bye-bye.
Bye
I mean,
bye.
this is either bye-bye or like his Hollywood Minute guy, this pithy like commentary guy, but I mean, this part of the show, him, great. But as an assistant, this guy I would not, he's a liability. You got to get him out of there. This guy is not a good person. So
Basically, he's David Spade. Hey, like, hey,
I
just be
mean,
you.
really, they hired
Just
David Spade.
just be you in this magazine office setting in this situational comedy. And we're also introduced to Nina Van Horn. Her face has appeared on over 40 covers, and she was the Noxzema Gotcha Girl.
She's
I don't know
also a
what the fuck
legend of 90s television, Steve. She was also a big part of Frasier.
Yeah.
She eventually was Frasier's father's wife on the climactic episode of the series. So, Wendy Malick, salute to
Wendy
you,
Malick.
you little cougar, you.
I like me some Wendy Malick. Yeah. So it's not just me.
I mean, for an old white lady, she's fantastic. And
She's
she's
showing
still
off them
working.
legs.
She looks great still. And
Yup.
she's talented as fuck. She can play the piano. She can sing. She was a model. Legit. She
I can
legit
see
was
it.
a model as a younger woman. So, beautiful lady. Wendy, we love you.
We do. Now Jack is surprised to see his daughter at the job. They go into his office and Jack tries to make small talk. We find out that Maya actually heckled her dad at his wedding when he was exchanging vows with his wife. But it was only because his wife was quoting Lion King. Ugh.
That's
Elliot,
questionable.
yeah, we're introduced to Elliot, the photographer. He enters the office and we immediately find out that he doesn't like Nina Van Horn. If she's not fired, he quits. And then in comes Nina, and her and Elliot get into a verbal tussle.
What do you think, Elliot, Steve?
I feel like Elliot represents the everyday common man. He's not like he's got a dad bod as he shows in the episode. He's balding and he's living his dream. He's like most guys in their, I'm not even gonna say 20s, 30s, like most men, he works with beautiful women. And I think he even mentioned something like that, like, I'm the guy who kind of like selects these women or whatever, something like
Yeah.
that.
And he wants to select his type of. That's what the argument's about. She likes thin little, wayfish chicks, and he likes a little fuller figure woman.
Which I totally respect.
And also, like you said, he's like the normal. It's like if you got a job being a photographer for a magazine, and there were just hot models everywhere, all over you. It was like he's that guy. Is this the vibe you want to put out now in a show? No. It's a little weird. This guy's basically just poaching women and fucking them. And I'm sure that happens. I can't affect the fashion industry. I don't know what goes on now or what happened in the 90s for this, but this guy's living the dream, basically. And salute to him. Salute to the guy. He's a little creepy, but it is what it is.
Now, Elliot and Nina, they leave the office, leaving Maya and Jack. And without Maya even asking, Jack already knows that she hasn't worked in 3 months. She's broke and she can't pay her rent. There's something more that I could say to that, but I'm just going to keep that off the table, off the records. He actually needs a relationship column written by noon the next day, and like how to make any man can I speak today? Like how to make any man your love slave.
I mean, she's a fucking journalist, man. Sometimes you got to write articles you don't want to write if you're going to be a writer. She's a freelance writer, so write an article.
Yeah.
Do some, Maya. Can I say something about Maya's life, though, that we haven't covered yet? Her weird Hardley Boys roommate that she has, or whatever that guy is that she's living with.
With the glasses, yeah.
Hi. Yeah, he looks like he smells shit all the time. I don't understand that guy. He looks like a comedian I saw out here named Earl Skakel, but it's not that guy. That guy's funny. This guy's not. Whatever her roommate, I don't like that guy at all.
Well, you know he was in Mad TV for a season.
Really, Steve?
That's
You
because
gotta
he
pay
looks from
rent.
yeah, he can't get over those teeth, man. The fucking Wilbur. You don't remember him from Mad TV?
I kind of do now, yeah. But he looked the same. He was always like,
Yep. That was his thing. And
well, I mean, he's not around anymore, so hopefully that guy's doing okay too. Hopefully,
he hasn't done work in a while. I looked him up.
Okay, act like you're sad. Okay, you're fired. Get out of here.
Who's Napoleon Dynamite? I think he's kind of taken over any kind of role that guy could have had. It's the same guy, just not as famous.
Teeth knocked out. His career's never recovered.
Girls like guys with skills.
I mean, you just quit the job like that. I don't get it, Maya.
But Maya, she gets to working for her dad on that column. But while she's doing that, Nina is peeping. She's peeping at her. She's like, huh. So the daughter's starting to work for dad, huh? And she's already thinking nepotism.
For good reason.
Exactly. I don't blame her, because anytime that happens at any of my jobs, like, oh, the wife works here now, or the son works here, it's only a matter of time before he becomes my fucking boss.
Yeah. If you got to train that person, it's like, it's over for you.
Yep. Exactly.
Shittily.
So Nina, we with you, baby. We with you. I totally get why you would feel this way.
I mean,
it's good.
Honestly, when we get to the end of the episode, it's real good fucking instincts to be. I mean, she called it right on the head, Steve, because the dad gives the company to his daughter, and all she's offered up is a shitty attitude.
Yeah.
And I can only assume was a bad article, because I think what she wrote was a flaming diatribe about her father's shitty company.
And to make matters worse, she finds out that her dad is about to have a baby with her former classmate. They're expecting, and she didn't even know the girl was pregnant.
I mean, that's a weird. Maybe that's why her dad was acting so nervous when she showed up, though. Because it's like, oh damn, of course she's gonna show up right now. The day I'm about to go to the hospital for this woman, her friend, to give birth to this kid. Yeah, it doesn't make her dad look any better at the time. The whole time I was watching this, I was like, damn, like, why would you dig yourself this big ass hole? Like, it was just a weird vibe of this father-daughter relationship for most of this episode. It was strange.
But, the baby's born at the end of the episode, and you get to see Maya just, all rosy-eyed and everything. And she has another one-on-one conversation with her dad, and she's basically saying, like, look, man, this is your shot at redemption. So if she ever holds her arms out, give her a hug. If she ever cries, dry her tears. If she ever has a dance recital, make sure you make it.
I mean, she's got a sister, Steve. I guess anybody, when you get a new, like, brother or sister, that just like snaps her into being like happy again. And also there's like a really cheesy Hootie and the Blowfish like instrumental playing when she's looking at her baby sister that me and my wife just loved.
Yeah.
It's like very Hootie, very, just one of those heartbreak songs. And the fact that this is what brings her and her father together. Hey, whatever works, I guess. Mm-hmm. Even if it is your classmate having a daughter with your father, whatever. Maybe that is
because giving her a job when she was broke and hadn't worked for 3 months, that totally wasn't enough.
Yeah.
It's definitely a no for me, dog.
Yeah. And also then again, this motherfucker says, you know what? I got to take some time to be with this kid. The magazine is at your disposal. You are now like, that's what the end of this episode is. And it's like, well, fuck this. Do you even know if she's a good writer?
Nepotism.
She was writing like teleprompter script. That's not a magazine. You even what she wasn't the fashion, Steve. If we can speak on her fashion, no. Everybody at the magazine was like, what's her name? Nina, whatever. She just shits all over her the second she walks in. She's like, babe, you need to lose 20 pounds. You need to get a smile on your face and walk your ass at it. You know, she basically tells her she looks like shit. So
and she said something like, tell your hairdresser to kick the cocaine habit like everybody else did.
Hell yeah.
It's like, damn.
I mean, so now maybe this is gonna win. You know, but to me, this first of all, Nina's nightmare happens, and so she should have been concerned. But what is gonna happen to this magazine? It's gonna become like a QAnon magazine or some shit. This bitch is gonna turn it all political and lose all the readership.
Make them say Q, nah, nah, nah. Now I like, okay, Maya, you know, her character might be bland and kind of bratty, but Laura San Giacomo, I think she's pretty cute. And I don't recall seeing other things that she was in. I know she was in Sex, Lies, and Videotape, but watching the show, I was like, damn, like she kind of looks like the girl I lost my virginity to.
Well, I mean, congrats, Steve. To me, she looks like somebody who's gonna, might be, she is beautiful, but I see a lot of problems hidden in the eyes. You know, there's just something about her where I'm like, she's gonna maybe try to hit you, or, you know, there's gonna be like 50 missed calls one day on your phone, 2 days into the relationship because you haven't checked in. One of those types where it's like something's obviously she has some daddy issues, but she's working through them. So maybe you're good to go, Steve.
That's usually my type. It's like, oh, your dad was in your life. Oh, this ain't never gonna work. Yeah.
Let me
now. Yeah, you start calling me daddy.
Hear that?
Bells.
School's out.
400 yards. 300 yards. 100 yards. It's hungry, sir. It got Johnson.
Beefy.
Chef Boyardee, beef ravioli. Feed the need.
Now, on March 4th, 1998, Smart Guy is airing the episode Strangers on the Net. After buying a counterfeit game over the internet, TJ encounters a real-life stranger danger. TJ wants a new CD-ROM video game that costs $55.
I mean, Steve, this, I gotta say, what I said to you earlier, that this is one of the most terrifying episodes of television that I've seen. And I've watched the Cecil Hotel documentary. I've watched horror movies, and at moments of this episode, I was like, where the fuck is this? When will this stop? Like, how far is this gonna go? This episode scared the living shit out of me. And Taj Mowry, I gotta say, also salute, before we get into the episode, to the Mowry DNA, because in the 90s, that DNA produced 3 stars and millions of dollars on this, I hope. So,
they were just crushing it, man. TJ was also one of Michelle Tanner's buddies.
And this kid is a star.
Yeah.
More so than, I gotta say, he's probably better than his sisters. I said it, Steve. I said it. To me, he entertained me a little. He's got that snap.
He's got it.
And
hey, kids, you want to be in pictures?
He can fix your car immediately with a paper clip. So right then and there, I'm sold.
Very true. And also, man, shout out to Floyd, their father, man. We talk a lot about Carl Winslow. We talk about Cliff Huxtable. There's Al Bundy. There's Uncle Phil. But not enough respect for Floyd, man, because he was a single black dad that raised 3 children by himself. And he held it down, man. He's definitely one of my favorite fathers in sitcom history.
Yeah, he's legit. Like stern father figure, and he died. This father in this show dodged the biggest bullet of all time. You matrixed away from one of the biggest bullets you can as a father in this episode. So I guess he's also one of the luckiest men in this universe as well, because this shit was crazy, Steve. I didn't know video games could lead to this. Who knew?
Yeah. Floyd Henderson, yeah, that's his name. And TJ wants this new video game, and Floyd's just like $55. Like, man, you better find your own way. And then we find out later that his brother Marcus, he wants a car. But him and his friend Mo, they actually already have the car. They go half on a hoopty for $600. They put in $300 each, and they plan on fixing it up. And Mo, he says, like, man, I know all about fixing cars. I went to shop, but we later find out Mo doesn't even know how to open up the hood.
Shout out Omar Epps, by the way. Love it. And I mean, we could talk about Baby Boy, but it's not. It's not. It's
Omar
not
Gooding.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Omar Gooding.
I'm sorry. God.
And you know what, man? This has been fucking with me because I like to know that our facts are legit. I don't remember which episode it was when we were talking about Magic Johnson. I said he went to Eastern Michigan. He went to Michigan State, and I just want to put that out there.
I know the difference between Omar Gooding and Omar Epps. It was a slip of the fucking tongue, but thank you for calling me on it. And I'm glad you're fact checking the episodes, because I am not.
So, boys and girls, if you saw this episode and you saw that episode, yeah, I know that he went to Michigan State. No one's ever called me out on
Stop
it. But
with it. And stop with the nonsense. He meant right. It's okay. Steve, you got it. You corrected it. All the naysayers out there that's been clamoring about this miscommunication, we apologize. We're sorry. Magic, if you're listening, Steve, apologize. It's over with. Drop it. Stop emailing us.
TJ's talking to his friend Karen, and if TJ wants to get this CD-ROM game, he's going to have to get it with his own money. Karen's got the plug, though. Some kid she met in the Hyper Gamers chat room is selling bootleg copies of Starship Doctor for $20. Now, Karen says she could find that on her dad's couch because Karen's parents have a real good marriage.
And apparently they're balling enough to just be dropping 20s in the couch. God damn. I found a 20 in the couch, Steve. I'm gonna buy some weed immediately.
TJ's not just a smart guy, but he's a law-abiding citizen, and he's not trying to buy some bootleg off-brand Sega CD. Karen thinks he's a wuss, and G checks TJ. TJ's like, fuck it, I'm with the shits. And you call me a wuss again, I'll swing you by that long-ass ponytail. And they look, his name is Marky412, and they see what Marky412 has to offer. He's got Starship Doctor, he's got Chronic the Hedgehog, he's got subpar Mario Brothers, and he has a hard-on for adolescent children.
Yeah.
Karen wants all of them.
A record to boot, so.
Karen wants all of them. I want this, I want that. And they're going to meet Marky412 at Dog Burger wearing Oreos caps. And
these kids
Marcus and Mo,
like, how are they so ready to do this? Putting myself in that mindset as a kid, first of all, when I was on the internet talking to randos online, it was to fuck with people. It was never to buy shit. I would never have met somebody. So is TJ a smart guy? Yes, clearly. He can fix cars. He can do all that. But he has a little bit of dumb still in him because he doesn't think this through immediately. I would have never done this as a kid. This was a no-no, Steve. This was a big no-no.
Maybe he's just a book smart guy.
I mean, Karen or whatever. God damn. Like, what this chick is a fucking dangerous person to be hanging out with.
Yeah, she has no scruples about herself. And
he can make the money, Steve, because they need the game costs $55.
$55.
But these bootleg games are $20 a piece, and they want to get 3. So they need $60. So what does TJ do? He goes, oh, hey, I'm going to go outside, get these simps to pay me to fix this car, and then we'll bounce and get these games. He gets $64, I believe, to pay for lunch and the games.
Mm-hmm.
You could have just went and bought the game, guys. You could have went to fucking Best Buy or KB Toys, whatever you were going to. Go buy the regular game. Don't do this. Don't put us as viewers into watching what's about to happen because they make the worst decision possible. But I'm sorry, I hijacked it, Steve. You're telling the tale way better. I'm sorry.
Or Babbage's. That was a relic of its time.
Babbage's, dude. Babbage's? Southwick Mall.
Babbage's.
Shout out Southwick Mall. It's probably just a husk of a building now, but
I'm sure it's a lot.
yeah. It's probably just one of those places. It's like a haunted mall, you know. You just go in and spelunk in what used to be a Dillard's or some shit.
And so TJ and Karen, they show up the Dog Burger wearing these oversized Oreos caps as if they're sexual predators in disguise themselves. And Marky spots them, and they quickly realize that he's not a kid. He said he's old enough to remember Pong, and the kids are just looking at him clueless as to what the fuck he's talking about.
He shouldn't have been in a kid's chat room, Steve. What are you doing in a kid's chat room, Marky 412? You fuck. Sick
And
fuck.
He's there to do business and other things too.
He has Steve. Also, here's another reason because they're like, "Why were you in a kid's chat room?" They ask him. So these kids are like trying to get to the bottom of this a little bit. He's got the games wrapped up like a bag of crack, fucking on the street. I didn't get that.
It totally looks like a drug deal with TJ just kind of looking around like, "Oh, so you got the shit."
My wife took notes and she's like, why the fuck did anyone in the building not intervene in what was clearly a drug deal between two kids and a grown man? Why would you as an adult not be like, what the fuck is going on here? What is this?
Well, I don't think any adults were in Dog Burger. I think he was the only one there. This must have been like an adolescent hangout. Like
it's not run by and for adolescents, Steve. There's adults there. Hey, guy on the fry-later, go get the pedo away from the clientele then. Fuck.
And I don't know if you caught this, but he kind of tries to play matchmaker with Karen and TJ. He's like, hey, I'd grab him up. He's a real catch. Foreshadowing. Hey, you did try to grab him later in this episode, and they tried to run off on the plug without paying him. And he's like, hey, man, everything's cool, except you got to give me money for these games. Like, oh, man, we're beginners at this shit.
We do this a lot. Okay,
yeah.
I'm sorry. That guy's pretty cool, though.
Before they leave, Marky 412 tells the kids, don't tell anyone about anything. And now, when they get the games, they go back to the crib, and TJ lies to his dad about how he got the games. And he says that, like, the Starship Doctor, yeah, that one's mine, but the rest of them, they're Karen's, because Karen's parents have a real good marriage.
And she just co-signs on the lie. That one, there's no hesitation here, which I mean, I've been there. I've been a kid lying to your parents and shit. I get it, but damn. Again, you saw what the guy looked like. Don't fall for this trapping of cheap video games. I mean, there was never any option to do this, Steve. You can't bootleg a cartridge.
Well, I mean, these were CD-ROMs.
Yeah, I guess you're right. He was a smart guy on the PC, so I never had anything to be able to do that. So,
and while they're playing, they find out that Marky 412's got some new shit, Grave Robber 2 and Clowns of War, and he's creating a new video game that they should totally come over and try out. He can't leave home because he's just working, man. Like, if you guys want to get these other games, man, you got to come here. Exclusive shit. And so the guys are still struggling with their hoopty, though. TJ sees this and he hits another quick lick. This time he wants 66 so that they can break it down in threes, so that Marcus, Mo, and their fine ass sister, what was her name?
I don't even remember, but
Tasha Yvette Henderson. And so they break them off with 66, but only to find out the car doesn't start because it doesn't have gas. But he still runs off with the $66.
I was about to say, he doesn't. I'd be like, give me that fucking money back, kid. Like, you didn't do shit. I'm not paying you for that. I'm not paying. That kid. He's a pimp. So TJ's a pimp. He just said, yeah, you got played. So
off to the Plug's house on our bikes. Hey, are you wearing your helmet, Karen? Make sure you wear your pink helmet. Then we cut to the kids visiting Marky 412's basement, where he's creating this game called Surf City.
Steve.
And
No, don't go into the basement. It's in the basement. I'm out. Bye.
The kids are easily amused by these basic 90s graphics. I guess we're cutting edge at the time. And I don't know why Cedar Point didn't step in. For those of you who don't know, Cedar Point at this time was ranked the #1 amusement park in the world.
It's the roller coaster, Steve.
The America's Rock and Roller Coast in my hometown of Sandusky, Ohio. And there's a water park called Surf City. So Cedar Point, maybe the presidents and the CEOs never saw this episode of Smart Guy, but Disney, you might have a lawsuit on your hands if they do. Now,
maybe they're just into a pedophile cult that has fueled this man into making this video game, Steve. We just QAnon shit, Steve.
QAnon. And they get on this surfboard, and man, they're just so impressed because they're kids. They're easily amused. Just give them a box.
Nick Arcade or something, because that's what this shit looks like. Like, first of all, he's like, yeah, there's gonna be like shells and stuff. All they're doing is surfing on a green. There's no game. Like, what the fuck is this, dude? I mean, like, game is whack. Give me my fucking shit and let me get the fuck. Why is your dick out?
Why you ain't got no shirt on, man? But like, it's like they say you could be surfing in the video game, and we could put your face in the video game. How cool is that, right? But after they test out the beta video game, Marky 412 is saying, hey, you're surfing in sweater and jeans. You should be in swimsuits.
That's weird. You need to take your shirt off. Just your shirt, guys. I mean,
yeah.
Steve, he has a like a whole folder of a whole billfold of fucking kiddie porn he's about to show these kids.
In his child diddling dungeon. Yeah. He's like, hey, look at this photo album. See, these are the kids who visited before.
Guys, what do you think of this? This is my BDSM line here. Here's my Dennis the Menace photo. Like, what the fuck is going on? I was sitting there like looking, because I was watching this with my wife, and she doesn't really remember the show as a whole, but she remembered this episode. And when they went into the basement, I was like, what the fuck is going on? She's like, it gets even worse than this. He asked them to take their clothes off. And when it happened, I was like, turn this fucking shit off. Like, it was going to keep going in some way. So this was insane, dude. This was insane that they made this show and made it like this. Because to even get to this far is, I have no words left. I'm in shock that they made this.
The horror!
This kid almost get molested on TV. That's all this is. This is
on a very special
like
episode.
the recreation of a first 48 episode, like right at the beginning, and then the rest of the show is them finding this guy, years later or some shit. This is insane.
I'm Chris Hansen. Here, have a seat. So it says on here that you wanted to lick her asshole like ice cream cone. No, man,
I was just game creator. I'm a video game, sir. That's a surfboard. There's no video camera here. What the fuck? I'm just a guy. I'm shocked that you made me watch this. I thought this was gonna be some sort of uplifting episode. This is just sheer terror on television.
I was just going to bring some dog burger to the kids, and we're going to have some dog burger together. Well, it says on here, Marky 412, you wanted to put your hoo-hoo dilly in her cha-cha.
Well, did you also bring the condoms? Because that's what you said you were going to bring in this chat that we have from yesterday. So where are those at? Empty out that bag. It's just filled with kinds. Like, what else you got in there? Nothing. Can I go? Oh, you can go. Yeah, you can go.
I got, instead of Metroid, I got Methroids.
I can't like imagine being how they wrote this, how they filmed this, because this shit is like insane to watch. And just thank God TJ got his wits about him and honestly saved his friend's life. You
Because
know what I
Karen,
mean?
she
Karen
wanted
wants
to
to
stick
stay.
around.
Yeah, she's like, it's cool, I'll stay.
Yeah, Karen can stay.
But then thank God he gets him out of there. And I mean, the utter balls on this guy because we find out later he has a record. So
Yeah.
this is just his thing. And he like, who was the people that let this guy back out on the street to get this kind of setup going? This is an utter failure on law enforcement, first and foremost.
Yeah, and so after they leave the child diddling dungeon, TJ comes back home and he's readily disturbed. He goes straight to his room and disconnects his computer because he can't believe what just happened. Now, Mr. Floyd Henderson, he notices that his youngest child is just not himself. And so they have a heart to heart. And TJ, he can't take it anymore. He tells him the truth, what happened, what almost happened. And in the next scene, we find out that this man, like you said, he served time for this before, and he's currently on parole. And just talking to these kids was a violation of that. He's been arrested and he's in custody, and he's not going to be out on bail. And if he wasn't, Papa Floyd was going to put them paws on that pedophile.
I mean, that was my ideal ending for this show is that they just cut back to his dad, like his fist covered in blood coming back in. He's just like washing his hands, like, where were you at? And he's just like, oh, nowhere. And they just leave it open ended. But you know, he caught that
And it's
guy
fuck.
slipping and just like beat his ass. Because, first of all, because his son like tells him what happens.
Mm-hmm.
And to this man's credit, he doesn't do what I would think that I would do, which is almost like black out and just like rush to like get to that guy. He listens and he doesn't even because TJ doesn't want to ever use the internet again. And this guy
And he
has
wants to
the
throw
actual he has the forethought to be like, you're throwing the baby out with the bathwater here. And, just because this happened doesn't mean that this is an entirely bad thing. And he's like, that's like some of the best advice to give somebody. But like as a father, I would have been like, you ain't never going to be on the fucking internet ever again. That would have been my reaction,
But Disney would never allow that on a script. And TJ, like you said, he wanted to throw away the modem, and Floyd's like, man, I kind of need that to look at tits when you guys are at school.
Yeah, we need the internet. I need it.
Right. Like, yeah, I'm just gonna have to put a parental blocker on that. Now,
fuck.
Are we overlooking the fact that now you do have to register as a sex offender in these situations, and there were a lot of red tape that we just kind of skipped over. Did you ignore the sign in front of his house, smart guy? Were these
right?
like shouldn't there be some kind of
He's that smart. He can fix a car in multiple ways. He's a genius kid, right? He even is such a genius that in the face of that crazy situation, he does come to and go, stranger danger, let's get the fuck out of here. And like, even, I mean, I think they actually do kind of give him credit at the end of the episode. Like his brother's like, you're a hero, man. But I know that he put himself in that situation, but somebody need to be like legit, like you saved somebody's life today. Because if he would have left that basement and like Karen just stay there and just been like, I gotta go, like I'm scared, and just let her do whatever she wants to do, this would be the first episode, like the first 48. It would have been a situation like that. It's like crazy. That's what I'm saying. Like, what a crazy episode of a Disney show. This is a Disney show we're talking about.
Karen wanted to play Ultra Blaster 4, and she was going to get blasted.
She would have turned it on and been like, "What the fuck is this?
Why is he peeing on that woman?"
It's just that guy from Silence of the Lambs with his dick tucked between his legs. Like, oh my god. It's okay, Karen. This is a different type of video game.
Man, So
Jesus.
any honorable mentions, any takeaways, young Matthew?
Well, I do just want to say that fuck Disney Channel for making me watch this show because it scared me. It was intense. I had a panic attack that might have been because I ate an edible and then watched this show, but very intense episode of the show. Shout out to Wendy Malick again, the actress from Just Shoot Me, Nina Hartley. She's a bad bitch. I think we both need to give it up to Wendy Malick because she's a true queen. So salute to her.
Nina Hartley is the porn star, bro.
Whatever, you know.
I
Whatever.
like her too, though. I love me some Nina Hartley
Shout
too.
out
Oh,
to
boy.
Nina Hartley too. Shout out to Wendy Malick, the actress, for her portrayal in Just Shoot Me, and also just shout out to David Spade for getting paid to just be you. You won,
Yeah.
man. So congratulations.
Man, in 1998, on that same day when TJ and Karen are running away from the child diddling dungeon, the Wayans brothers are airing the episode Busta Saves the Day, and that was a good episode because Busta Rhymes made a cameo.
Nice.
You know, give me some mo.
Was that
Had
his
enough?
first
Give me some
acting
mo.
role ever, you think?
No, he wasn't. He was in Higher Learning,
Oh yeah, you're right.
and yeah. And also, I realized that Essence Atkins was 26 when this episode of Smart Guy aired, man. She was 26 playing a high school student, and she hasn't aged a bit, man.
Yeah, she does look identical. She was on something recently that my wife watched. I was like, damn.
Marlon Wayans on his show, she played the wife.
Yep, that's what it was. That was a good show also. I did like that show, and I think it got canceled, unfortunately.
Yeah, that woman is fine.
Yeah, she is legit. Straight out. Shout out to her as well. Let's add her to the list.
And I also didn't know that those three roles that John Candy left on the shelf also were going to be assigned to Sam Kinison, John Belushi, and Chris Farley. How insane was that?
I mean, I get it, because they all kind of are in that universe of like that same type character type. But man, what a tragic circle to be a part of. I guess it's crazy.
Now, where can they catch you on Ain't Life Funny, Matt?
Again, that's we release it different days, but we have a new episode every week. I think the new one just dropped yesterday, which would have been Tuesday, but check that out every week. We're still doing it. Talking about crazy conspiracies and whatnot and your mom. So Steve, where can they tune into Over the Culture?
Over the Culture is typically every Sunday. I took a week off last Sunday because it was a crazy weekend and I didn't have the time. But yeah, this Sunday we'll be talking about sports entertainment, music, movies, TV shows, and somebody's mommy. This has happened in the 90s with Matthew G and Stephen G.
Stay off that internet, yo.
Bye-bye.